Today I effed up by switching geckos and making my science teacher think a gecko is immortal. When I was in 7th grade, I had this funny science teacher who loved to show off her collection of pets that ranged from a couple of bunnies to little hamsters in her classroom. She wasn't allowed and had to let go most of her pets a few years later. One of the pets was a leopard gecko. At that time, I was very into reptiles, so I was very interested in the gecko. Let's call him Tom. Anyway, because she had so many animals, she would have her students volunteer to take them home on holidays and care for them. One of her rules is that you can only volunteer once so that everyone else can have a turn. I decided to wait until summer to volunteer for the gecko because that would be the longest holiday, so I can maximize my time with the gecko. Summer came and I brought the gecko home with me. It didn't move a lot or hunt the crickets that I put in its tank, so I had to feed him by putting the cricket directly in front of his mouth with a pair of tweezers that I never used for myself again. Tom got really lethargic about 2 weeks into the summer, and the next day when I looked into his tank, he was dead. I freaked out. I cried and bawled to my mom about what happened and how my science teacher was going to hate me. Mom suddenly had an idea and we went to a pet store, not before we buried Tom in a box in our garden. We went to 2 different pet stores before we found a matured leopard gecko that was identical to Tom. Same size and patterns, so we brought him and named him Tom. Fast forward to end of summer and I had to return Tom. I was so ashamed of what I had done that I couldn't look at my science teacher in the eye even when she thanked me for caring for Tom over the summer. Fast forward again to first year university. I was scrolling down Facebook when I saw my old 7th grade science teacher posted something on her FB. We became friends after I graduated. She stated that a leopard gecko had lived a very long life of 31ish years, and was probably the oldest one in the world, but now was over the Rainbow Bridge. She was so proud to have a gecko for that long. I haven't had the heart to tell her that it wasn't the same gecko. But she probably knows now because she passed away last year, so she's probably hanging out with 2 geckos. TL. Dr. The gecko died under my care, so I switched the gecko for a live one so my science teacher wouldn't hate me. I have this image of her actually being surrounded by tens of geckos, where many students over the years have done exactly the same thing. It's kinda sweet that the teacher didn't even think that people replacing the gecko was a thing. If someone could clone my cat and replace her when she passes, that would be swell. She's not allowed to die. Oof. My cat is 20 and I've had him since I was 2. But I don't think he's going to make it through the night. I probably shouldn't have clicked on this thread. Okay, but really, how many years difference was there? Couldn't have been that many. You didn't fuck up. This woman went to her grave happy. That's a win. Leopard geckos live about 15 years. So, tell that to my just legal leopard gecko. That's right. She can drink now. My high school science teacher also had a bunch of pets in her classroom. My favorite was a rat named Ellie Mae. I would take her out of her cage for class like every day and she would just sit on my shoulder under my hair and I'd give her veggie snacks and stuff. Her tail would stick out with my hair and freak people out that didn't know she was there, lol. My teacher let students take her pets home over the breaks as well. And of course I got Ellie Mae for one of the breaks. I don't remember which one. Halfway through she stopped eating and running around. And one day I went to pick her up and she was stiff and I realized she died. I was fucking devastated. I gave her a little shoebox burial and brought the box to school and cried when I told my teacher what happened. I thought it was my fault, but I couldn't figure out what I did wrong. And the lady tells me she expected her to die soon anyway, BC she was at the end of her lifespan. I'm still mad at her for not warning me somehow before we left for break. Because it's much more fun to scare young children before. High school isn't exactly a young child. Today I effed up by getting a very painful erection, NSFW. Obligatory actually today. And still in pain. So I've been locked up in quarantine 4 weeks now. So needless to say it's been a bit since I've been with someone. Well, I had the urge a little bit ago. So I decided to turn on some risque videos that one would find on the internet. I didn't whip it out yet, as I like a little pre-game. So I'm sitting on my couch, I live alone, with 2 cats. One is a kitten, relevant, in my shirt and basketball shorts because they're comfy. Apparently. The kitten was sitting across the room on top of my other chair and was watching me. And apparently she thought the movement in my shorts was a plaything. Before I knew what happened, she shot off the chair and onto my lap, sinking her teeth and claws right into my dick at 3/4 mast. I yelled and stood up quickly, sending her running across the room. So here I am, about an hour later, with my dick wrapped in gauze, with the bleeding having stopped about a minute after this. Also, needless to say, my urge is long gone and probably won't come back for a while. TLDR, wanted to have some self-induced sexy time. Kitten decided that my dick was a toy. I'm currently in pain. Edit, after my own disinfecting stuff. I have been keeping a close eye on it as per the suggestions below. So far so good. Edit 2, so it's the morning after, and all is still well. No swelling or anything. Still keeping an eye on it though. Edit 3, about 24 hours later, no issue. IDKY, I didn't think to check, but I looked at my boxes from yesterday to see if there were any punctures in them from teeth and such. It looks like only like 3 of her little claws made it through. No teeth though. Also looked at the wound itself and there are only 3 little scratches. Nothing deep. Still cleaning, keeping an eye for signs of infection, but so far so good. I appreciate everyone's input. Some pussies have claws. And teeth apparently. That was a movie. You know. I believe called Teeth. Cat bites can be pretty nasty. Make sure you clean it out really well. Oh yeah. Did the whole peroxide and neosporin after. Pharmacist here. You probably need a tetanus shot. Don't worry, it's not in your dick. And likely some antibiotics. Cats have bacteria in their mouth that can cause severe tissue. Ask me anything. Don't want you to lose your member. I know you don't want to see a doctor right now. But as noted above, cat bites can be nasty. Not necessarily from the bite, but from a potential infection. At the very least, you may want to consider chatting with a healthcare professional over the phone or via an online app. Well, I cleaned it with hydrogen peroxide and put neosporin on it almost immediately. So for now I'll keep an eye on it. I appreciate it though. All the best, man. Hope it all goes well.